No mai, haere mai, kia ora and welcome along to the Music 101 interview podcast. I'm Charlotte Ryan. I host the music show every Saturday afternoon on RNZ National, and this podcast celebrates the best interviews of the week. For many of us, the weather is changing, seasons are changing, and I don't know about you, but music to me always feels and sounds quite different in particular seasons. And I had no idea that Mogwai would be one of those bands that I love playing in between seasons, in a sense. It's actually been their latest album, As the Love Continues, the 10th studio album by the Scottish pop rock band that's been hitting me differently over the last couple of weeks. They released it in 2021, but it captured me and it captured a whole lot of fans and critics right round the world. It was nominated for the Mercury Prize that year. Considering it was their 10th album, it's pretty amazing. And it took the band on a huge international tour, which included a visit to New Zealand. So ahead of Mogwai's New Zealand shows, I spoke to singer and guitarist Stuart Braithwaite, and we had so much to talk about. We spoke about him stargazing with his father. I had to ask them about playing live and playing loud, because I'd heard that people's ears had bled after hearing Mogwai play live. We also spoke about the new documentary on the band and Stuart's book, as well as some aliens. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Stuart Braithwaite from Mogwai on Music 101. Ahead of chatting to you today, I've just been immersed in everything Mogwai, and I've been really enjoying your memoir, Spaceships Over Glasgow, Mogwai, Mayhem and Misspent Youth. I loved reading about your childhood, and I especially loved the way that you spoke about your childhood was unspeakably weird and psychedelic. Tell me what made you say that?
I remember having an operation to have my adenoids removed and getting the anesthetic gas and kind of hearing the Doctor Who theme tune and seeing all these weird patterns. And yeah, I was always surrounded by interesting people. My dad made telescopes, and yeah, it was just a unusual and pretty fun upbringing.
That was the other thing that totally surprised me is your father was one of the only telescope makers in Scotland. That is quite random.
It's very random. He was the only telescope maker in Scotland. That was good. So I was always surrounded by interesting people and could always get to look at the moon and the stars. And yeah, I was very, very, very lucky to have that experience.
Yeah, it sounds like your father was a huge influence on your life. He was a singer too, wasn't he? A folk singer?
Yeah, not so much when I was around, but I think before I was born, him and his friend were kind of involved in the folk scene. I think it was all, children and telescopes by the time I arrived.
Because of the title of your book, Spaceships Over Glasgow, were you looking for stars or were you keeping an eye out for other things too?
To be honest, it probably would have been purely stars, but yeah, I like the idea of accidentally seeing the odd weird thing while you're looking at the stars.
Was it your town or a town near your town that had UFO sightings in the 90s?
It wasn't my town, but not far away, maybe about half an hour away. Yeah, there was a big place called Bonnybridge, which is actually quite near Falkirk, where quite a few of my friends' bands are from. But yeah, that was really interesting. I actually met someone recently who's trying to make a movie about it. I don't know so yeah, hopefully that happens, because it was definitely a pretty interesting experience.
Did you see anything back in those days?
I think me and Dominic saw something pretty weird once on a back road, but we didn't see anything in the Bonnybridge area, so we weren't part of that UFO spate.
I love it how in the book you ponder, and I never knew this. Did Jimi Hendrix believe in UFOs?
Yeah, and he used to get people. I think he felt that his music was going to attract aliens, so he'd get someone to keep an eye out for them while he was playing. I mean, if anyone's music's going to attract aliens, it's going to be Hendrix's music. So yeah, I could definitely feel that.
Or maybe Mogwai's, because I love that review that I read that someone said if the stars had a sound to it, it would sound like Mogwai.
Yeah, well, maybe I definitely like the kind of the grandeur of space and the kind of epicness of it. So yeah, I definitely aspire to that without a doubt.
The stargazing that you did with your father, do you think, and I sort of feel like this has only just come to me, but do you think that influenced Mogwai's sound, your way of playing?
I don't know if a conscious one, but I mean it's definitely like something very romantic about it, and I think all the best music has a romanticism to it, and yeah, and I like the idea of our music kind of soundtracking people looking at into space without a doubt. It's a lovely idea.
One thing that also surprised me and I wanted to ask you about is it sounds like your house was full of books. There was, amazing poetry and everything. And I wondered, you obviously love books too, and it sounds like you still read a lot. But
I do.
was it a conscious decision not to have words in your music?
Um, I think it was just a process of elimination. I think that the songs we had without words worked a bit better than the ones with them. And I don't think I'm a particularly strong singer. I'm probably a better guitar player. So yeah, it was just kind of using the tools at our disposal.
It's interesting looking at the song titles or Mogwai song titles because I feel like they're quite poetic. Do you enjoy choosing song titles for songs?
Yeah, we don't take it particularly seriously. Like we have quite a lot of fun with it. We kind of write down any old random things that we see written down or hear people say. And yeah, we've always got like a bit of a backlog. So yeah, no, we definitely have a bit of fun with it.
A backlog of potential song titles.
Yeah, dozens and dozens.
I love that. I love that. Some of my favourites, 1% of Monster, The Sun Smells Too Loud.
Yeah, I
uh,
think they're all ones that are literally just silly things that we've said ourselves. But yeah, I like that idea.
I do too. And a huge congratulations on your latest studio record as well, as The Love Continues. It was nominated for the Mercury Prize, it won Scottish Album of the Year, and it went to number one in the UK charts. That surprised me in the most beautiful way, but did it surprise you guys?
You've no idea. Yeah. Like it was one of these things that we'd never even considered could happen. So when it kind of became apparent that it might happen, it was just such a weird thing. And I guess a lot of people kind of realized how unusual it was. So we had a lot of support that week. And yeah, it was a really nice experience.
It gave me hope, I think, for the music industry because often the UK charts are so random and the songs that hit number
Yeah.
one even are so, you know, crazy. So it gave me hope for the music industry.
Yeah, and also I think we probably sold most of our records as physical records, which is a bit of a change now because I think a lot of big chart successes are off the back of streaming. And yeah, I like the idea of people actually going and picking up a record or a CD. And yeah, it was nice to see. Obviously, I'd be happy about it, but I think a lot of people involved in independent music were happy too because a lot of the other records that week were on major labels, and we've got our own record label, and it's really small. We've only got two members of staff, so yeah, it's a big achievement on that front.
You actually filmed a documentary while recording As the Love Continues. What was that like having the cameras around while you were in studio?
It was fine. A lot of them were just like left there rather than having like someone with an actual camera like in our face. So we kind of forgot they were there, to be totally honest. And yeah, I'm really happy with the film. I guess it's probably going to come out later in the year. It's getting its first showing at South by Southwest in Austin next month. So it's not your normal kind of music documentary with loads of talking heads or whatever. It's a bit more unusual. So yeah, I'm looking forward to people seeing us.
What do you mean unusual? Because you've worked with longtime collaborator Anthony Crook.
I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't have like a straight narrative. It's like there's a lot of just following us around things that are happening while we're making the record. And like a lot of it's the story of trying to make the record in the pandemic because we were originally meant to travel to America and we couldn't do that. So yeah, I definitely don't think I've seen a music documentary quite like it. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what people think.
Oh, I can't wait. Will you be at South by Southwest?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I'm hoping to get over there.
Oh, that's so cool. Gosh, how are you feeling then at the moment? Because with the book, which, really reflected on your life, and now this documentary that I understand, celebrates the new album, but also has lots of amazing old footage from the 90s. Are you is it a bit of a reality check looking back at your life at the moment? Does it feel are you sort of appreciating where you are?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, we're also working on a new record, so it's kind of like two things at once of kind of like thinking about the past and the future at the same time. So yeah, it's an interesting time, but I'm definitely probably more interested in looking forward than looking back. But yeah, it's also nice to take a step back and look at all the things that have happened over the years.
And is that because looking back, I mean, I'm the same. I try and just look forward, but is that because looking back, it's hard? Is there regret or anything? Or
No, not particularly. No, I just kind of, especially as an artist, you always want to look forward. Yeah, I definitely writing the book, I kind of got very immersed in the past, kind of poring over things that had happened and people had known, and yeah, in a lot of ways it was quite fun, but then it's not something you want to do all the time. It's good to live in the present and look towards the future.
yeah, totally, totally. Because you're a father now, aren't you?
I've got a stepson. Yeah, I've got a boy. Yes.
Oh, yay. Do you think about whether he would get into the music industry?
Well, he is a musician. He's a really good guitar player, and the other band that I put a record out with in the last year, Silver Moth, Jago, my stepson, came on tour and played some guitar with us. So yeah, he is in the music industry on on some level. So yeah,
Oh,
he's doing okay.
that is so cool. Does he know everything that is he going to read the book?
He's not shown any interest in reading it, but there's a few copies around the house if he changes his mind.
What sort of set can we expect when we see Mogwai in Wellington and Auckland?
Yeah, well, we've just finished rehearsing today, actually. So it's kind of a mixture of songs from the very early days up until quite a few from the latest album as well. So it's yeah, a bit of everything, I would say.
Now that you're a little bit older, do you sort of get excited about touring? It's not such a drag as it perhaps used to be?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It seems like quite a daunting journey, but I guess that's always the case for anyone traveling that far. But no, I'm looking forward to getting on stage and playing music, definitely.
I did read some pieces about the loudness of Mogwai when you guys perform
Yeah.
and the sound. And I don't know if it was a coincidence, but some old building fell down or, something like that. Do you know what I'm referring to? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's happened quite a few times. Like some of the ceilings came in. Yeah, we like to play pretty loud. I think it's important that music should be felt physically as well as just orally. So yeah. Sometimes I forget how loud we are though, and like we'll just start sound checking. I'll be like giving myself a fright. But yeah, it's going to be a lot louder at the gigs than the rehearsals, that's for sure.
Yeah, I bet. How do you look after your ears?
I wear earplugs on stage, yeah, at rehearsals. So I'm pretty studious. I would recommend people probably wear earplugs when they come to our shows.
I even read somewhere that someone's ear bled when Mogwai were playing. That wouldn't be true, would it?
Oh, really? I don't know. I remember Dominic, our bass player's ears bleeding one time when we saw My Bloody Valentine. So it's something that can happen. So yeah, refer to earlier answer that I recommend people wear earplugs.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing you in New Zealand. And thank you so much for coming over here because I know that, it's on the other side of the world for you.
It's a long way, but we're really looking forward to coming.
Safe travels and enjoy New Zealand when you're here too.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
That wraps up another Music 101 interview podcast. I was speaking with Stuart Braithwaite from Mogwai, Scottish post-rock band. Their latest album was released in 2021 and it's called As the Love Continues, and I fully recommend you going to listen to that.